This is a tank from an IBC. I'm using the crate for another purpose. Pretty simple. I can't tell you the measurement there now, but there's the foot. So it's about 9 inches. I think you need to leave it opening. And you'll see there I put slots in the floor, obviously in the low points, so that the water doesn't, if any water does get in, doesn't stay there. Or look, I drilled it either. Drill holes. And the latest addition to this prototype is this feeder here. I'm going to try and creep feed my lambs. I noticed that they're just not putting on the weight that I'd like to. So the next puzzle, we should get this in. The next puzzle is how to fill it. So there's the feed in there. The sheep can't physically see it, hopefully. And if they do go to push, the theory is that the IBC will push with them, so they actually won't get into it. Now, do you know what? Probably big heavy sheep might force their way through it, but it's quite simple. In a case like that, I might just have to put a bit of metal around it, just to make sure that they can't actually, that's going to expand. That's the problem there. They might get in through it. But that's it. And the reason why I could just go out and buy a creep feeder, but I need to buy one on wheels because I'm working a paddock system, so I need to move it every 3 days. Then I'm using electric fences as well, so it needs to be a system that's conducive to that. I don't want to be lifting things across, metal things. I could use a hay feeder and turn it upside down and put something in there, but then you're trying to lift hay feeders around the place every 3 days, and that's a bit of work. So this is draft plan 1 anyway. We'll see how it works. So here's the moment of truth. Is she eating is the thing. She has to be. Let's just see. You have nuts in your mouth. And it's a tight fit for that lamb. So it's a hard win, isn't it? Okay, so as you figured, the last experiment didn't work too well. I just put it up against the fence while I went and got some hurdles, and I'm going to try and put it in here now. And I have a pallet here. It looks appropriately spaced. Time will tell. So we've managed to keep the sheep out. The lambs haven't ventured in yet. There's something to scratch off as well. So hopefully that'll sort it. It'll give the other lambs, particularly the younger lambs, a boost. So what an evening it turned out. I started off this morning getting a creep feeder ready, and that turned into a bigger job than I thought, although I had my suspicions that it wasn't going to be easy. It's working fine. Lambs are getting in, sheep are not. Trough is half full, so they're eating something. So the creep feeding saga continues. We got them in, sheep out, lambs in. Trouble is, although they can push that in, the lambs, it's too slippy. The lamb can't get back out. So we had one lamb in there, stuck in there for a couple of hours. This is him here, look. Big scuttery arse on him, obviously. He's ate his fill of meal. So he's happy enough to get out and get grass. So we need to do another mod, which is make that hole bigger. And Also, we need to put a flap on the trough or something to stop the shit from going into it, because when maybe that's just because he was stuck in there and he just shit into it. But anyway, either way, I think it's going to be a problem that they're going to shit into it. So obviously somebody's engineered one of these before and went through all of this process, and you'd think that I just learn and buy a creep feeder. You're talking €1,000 for a decent creep feeder on wheels. That's what I need here. So yeah, we'll continue. So here we are a couple of weeks later with our creep feeder. It's definitely made a difference to the lambs. You can see this lamb here just in front of me. It's a twin lamb from last year's ewe lamb. So it was a very small lamb. You can see him definitely thriving away now. The meal has been a big boost to him. What would I say to you if you were going to experiment making your own creep feeder? I'd tell you, go for it if you have lots of time on your hands and you want a challenge. Otherwise, just buy one. But just make sure you know what you're buying. I've moved this around now, so you have to take the hurdles apart, move the hurdles, then drag the IBC around. If the IBC of the trough is full of meal, it'll be heavy enough. If the ground is wet, it'll slip along nicely. If it's dry, it'll be harder to pull, etc. So you learn all the different things with it. You'd need one with wheels. You need one that you can move by hand from paddock to paddock. I wouldn't want to have to be bringing down a jeep or a car or tractor down here just to move it every couple of days when you move from paddock to paddock. The current system there, they can shit into the trough. It is dry. They're wasting a bit, pulling a bit out. And I'm sure, listen, I haven't had a commercial creep feeder, but I'm sure they all have different traits. So all I'll say is just do your research. And for the minute, to be honest, and I've talked to a few other farmers, what I have is probably as good as it's going to get, because I know a local guy who's after losing a couple of sheep choking in it. A sheep got in and ate her fill of meal, and she died after it. So there's tales of woe from every different creep feeder. So just do your homework to figure out which one is best.